Hi, friends. My name's host Eric. Welcome to Talking with Famous People. Today we launch an exciting new game show called Let's Complain, which all participants compete to complain the most. If there's one thing I appreciate in this world, it's a complainer. Somebody who just bitches about shit with no purpose. I really like that. Problem admiration. That's why I decided to devote this live stream to it. Yo, dumb genius, high life quotes. How are you? Well, I'm excited about a new adventure called Let's Complain, which is a new approach to a game show. All the contestants get a turn to complain, and whoever complains the most wins. Because everybody loves complaining. I'm going to pull this bowl. This is the first bong rip of the day. It's always one of the most important bong rips of the day. If you've not yet pulled your first bong rip of the day, what are you waiting for? I waited until I got back from the Spartan final with coffee creamer. After going days without any coffee creamer, we even used all the flavored coffee creamer that Winston's mom sent us, which we were kind of about. But we went for a couple of days with black coffee. Boy, you get tired of that pretty quick. Anyway, this is the first bong rip of the day. It's a ceremonial bong rip, as always. Ceremonial bong rip. Hi, Hodge Brew. We're complaining today. We're playing Let's Complain. What do you want to complain about? I want to complain. I think true love exists, or is it all about self-happiness and self-profit? Chris Chapman, I'm glad that you're rare to complain. Well, does true love exist? I mean, yes, I guess. Do I have a doppelganger? People have said, oh, this guy over here is a lot like you, something like that, but I've never met my doppelganger. The thing is, it's like having been in, I was actually thinking in the car this morning, when I was driving to coffee creamer, I said to myself, to all the girls I've loved before, because I was kind of going back in my head thinking about all the chicks I've been with. And how unfortunate that is that that I have these aborted lives, these moments, stretches of intimacy with a woman that I tend to presume are going to last forever, and then the relationships fall apart for one reason or another. And the stark difference between this relationship and previous ones. This relationship is dramatically different than any relationship I've ever been in before. In terms of us being on the same page about shit. It's like, we just don't, we just always see eye to eye, basically. And I've never experienced that before. Is that true love? I don't know, but it's a truly comfortable relationship. That's for sure. I mean, I don't want anything else. out of a relationship that I'm getting out of this one. So does that count as true love? I mean, it is markedly different than any other relationship I've been in. So in that regards, it's qualitatively, not just quantitatively different, you know? But I've always said my traditional definition of love is a behavior that is about how you treat people, because I don't really understand FI very well, you know? What makes you think ENTP and INTJ relationships isn't ideal, by the way, or golden pairs in general? Well, actually, I think ENTP and sorry, Gen X. I actually think ENTP and INFJ are called the golden pair by Kersey, I believe. I'm sorry, INFJ. INFJ and ENTP are called the golden pair by Kersey. INTJ, ENTP would work pretty well, except countervaluing each other's tool function is kind of a problem. But I mean, INTJ, ENTP would work pretty well, I think. I do. It's just they don't share any functions. So they're rarely going to be seen eye to eye on things. Like, take Winston's mom, for example. She and I are about as in agreement as an INTP and ENTP will ever be. INTJ and ENTP will ever be. And yet there are points where we are in stark disagreement. And there's definitely like pow there, because I don't approve of her basic TE frame, and she doesn't approve of my basic TI frame, you know? Why is it useful to type famous people? I don't know if it is. Do you think it's useful? I mean, it's useful to me. People like to watch those videos. They get good views if you type a bunch of famous people. But I've never been into it, really. Rachel's much more into it than I am. She really, but prior to Rachel, I just would say I don't type people that I don't talk to, you know. But since Rachel liked it, I was happy to do it for her. But you know, I don't think there's any particular use to typing famous people, except that people like to see that. People have their opinions about it, you know. Like Scarlett Johansson's probably INFJ, but she might be ENFJ. She's one of the two. I mentioned her because I saw her in a movie yesterday. Bill Murray, who was also in that movie, I have a hard time typing him. Maybe INTP. It'd be INFP. No, he's got to be a TP. Bill Murray's a tough one to type. You know? XXTP. Okay. I'll go with XXTP for Bill Murray. He's a tricky one. He's pretty funny. And he's pretty intuitive about how to do that subtly. Bill Murray is my dad's favorite actor based on his 3 favorite movies. Good point, Genexial. It never occurred to me that Bill Murray's in all 3 of those, isn't he? He's in Ghostbusters. He's in Groundhog Day. And he's in, what's the other one? Ghostbusters, Groundhog Day. And somebody else, some other movie that my dad liked. Oh, Beetlejuice. He's not in Beetlejuice. I don't think Bill Murray's in Beetlejuice, though. Is he? Bill Murray's only in 2 of those 3 movies. Yeah, it's 2 of the 3. But that's a good point still, Gen Xio. It's a good point. Is there anybody else who's in 2 of them? Is Dan Aykroyd in either of the other 2? No. You know, you also think of it like this, okay? Andy McDowell in Groundhog Day plays kind of a similar character to the character of Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters. Now, and then in Beetlejuice, well, I guess there's just a young Winona Ryder in there. I was thinking maybe he liked black-haired literature majors or something as a women characters in a movie. Trying to find another pattern there, you see. But that's a good NI question. Things in common with these 3 movies, you know. You get the idea that Dan Aykroyd's a very humorous guy in person who's just not, in my opinion, a very funny actor. Well, to a certain extent, humor can only be accomplished by the writer first and foremost, and then it has to be fulfilled by the actor. So if you're not doing good writing, then what are you going to do? I get what you're saying though, Dallas 1969. He's probably quick on the fly, you know. Like, I'm a pretty funny guy, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'd be good as in a comedy movie, you know. I've had a lot of people tell me they think I'm a pretty funny guy, but I've even had somebody who at least claimed to have experience in the industry tell me, you should go into it, you could do it, you know. But I don't know if I can do it on command, you know. I'm very, very comfortable rolling along the river, making jokes at whatever passes by, you know. That's a different kind of humor construction than written humor. 3 things in common with these movies: Batman Begins, Spider-Man 1, and Iron Man 1. They're all beginnings. None of them are middles or ends. Is that the answer? They're all superhero movies. All 3 main characters are dudes in costumes. Do all 3 characters end up banging Kirsten, bad actress? Who's that? Is that like Kirsten Dunst? Kirsten Dunst. She's the worst actress of all the actresses I can think of. She's the worst. I never believe her, you know, when she's acting. I always think, you're acting right now. I think in real life, Batman, Spider-Man, and Iron Man have all banged Kirsten Dunst. But in the movies, I'm not sure. She seems easy. I think it would be easy to bang Kirsten Dunst. Am I right? Did she seem easy? I feel like if I put a little bit of effort into it, I can get on that chick, no problem. She's just like, hey. Complaint. You didn't get a notification for the stream. That's a fair complaint. But it may be because this is more than 3 in the last 24 hours. I don't know. Please watch her music video about turning Japanese. Is she covering the song? Which is a great song, by the way. Oh, I think I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. I think I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. No sex, no drugs, no wine, no women, no song, no you, no fun, no wonder it's dark. Everyone around me is a psycho ranger. Everybody near me is a total stranger. Everyone. Is she offended by it or something? Please tell me she's offended by it. That would explain exactly what I'm saying here. Easy. Oh, she likes the song. Oh, okay. Then maybe she's just a bad actress. And that's what I'm thinking about. It's such a great song. Okay, all of a sudden, my opinion about Kirsten Dunst just turned 180 degrees. If she thinks that's a great song, then maybe I'm wrong about her. Maybe I'm completely wrong about her and she's just a bad actress. And any other further conclusions I can draw are incorrectly drawn. I don't think she's a very good actress, but if she thinks Turning Japanese is a great song, she's absolutely correct. And that surprises me. Good morning, Winston's mom. She was only in the one Spider-Man movie? Well, I haven't seen... I guess I have seen a lot of Spider-Man movies, but whenever anybody talks about Spider-Man movie, I think of the one with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst in it. Good morning, Winston's mom. I wish you a beautiful good morning today. We ended up using all that coffee creamer you sent us. In the gaps between having regular coffee creamer. And then for the last couple of days, we're drinking coffee black. But then this morning, I said, Eric, you can do it, dude. You can do it. And I went to the store and I bought more coffee creamer. Now my coffee is creamed, as you can see. If two people of the same quadrant meet, will they be more compatible in a relationship sense than, say, outside the quadrant? In general, yes. And they'll feel an immediate camaraderie, probably. They'll get each other. Like, oh, I get you. You're a regular person who makes sense to me. Because they've got... who's Elliot Page and Emma Portner? I don't know who either of those people are. Let me look it up on the interwebs. Search Google for Emma Portner. Professional dancer. Oh, you mean Juno, the Juno chick. Probably what happened is that Emma Portner realized, wait a second, you're a lady. Hold on a second, that's not a real penis. Maybe all the hours of English speaking YouTube paid off because I got an offer from some U.S. company. They need someone who can speak English and German. And this website must have checked my online activity. Why the additional paranoia thing there at the end? Isn't it good you got offered a job? Okay, well, Heil Google is right. You know, I personally love Google. Shocking. I don't want people across type I jive best with my ESTP daughter. Well, you know, in some sense, I jive best with my ESTP daughter too, but that's kind of because she's my daughter, I think, more than because she's an ESTP. Although being an ESTP helps. Like, I can really just spend time in her company and feel happy. You know, it's just being in her company. She has a certain like radiance to her that I experience anyway as her father, you know, that makes me just want to be around her. But of course, being FI polar, I don't think about it very often. And so it's like I'm not around her as much as I'd like to be, really. With all these anti-internet stories on Netflix, is Netflix full of anti-internet movies? Huh. Your ESTP is incredibly exhausting. I don't find Delilah exhausting. I find her well, you know, despite being, I think, a 2 and a tri-type, she has the same fundamental kind of selfishness that the ENTP has. She's low maintenance, and she expects you to be low maintenance. You know? She's kind of in typology and Enneagram quandary because she's an ESTP, but she's got 2 in her tri-type. She doesn't really like to be that helpful, but it's kind of like how she approaches things. Complain. I'd like to complain more, but I'm in a pretty positive mood. Things seems like they're going to work out well somehow. That does suck. Kiersey says ESTP wants a playmate. What does Kiersey say ENTP wants? Thanks. I've used the sun. It's that celestial body that enlightens us all with its beams on a daily basis. Probably says ENTP wants a mommy. It's not exactly true. Yeah. You want to complain about the internet and the rain. Not enough internet or too much internet. Not enough rain or too much rain. You can complain either way. It's up to you. It's entirely up to you. I saw a possum last night in the backyard. I don't like possums. They're unattractive creatures. I go, ew, possum. ENTPs often want a sandwich. Yeah. Gerald has a friend who's a friend of a friend. How many friends does he have? Well, he definitively has two. He might have three. Yeah, that's a good TI question, actually. What if a better way to phrase it at the end would be, what's the fewest number of friends Gerald has? No, maybe he has to have three. Gerald has a friend who's a friend of a friend. No, he has to have two. No, he's got to have two. Okay, that's true, Rain. You're right. You caught me. I am assuming that a friend means his friend. The problem is also here that of the three friends named, two of them are the same friend. Eric, send a link so I can join live. You are live joining. You're in live chat. The combination would be ISTJ, ESFP, ESTJ, ISFP, ISFJ, ESTP, ESFJ, ISTP. I don't agree with all of those. I actually think that INTP, ESFJ are probably a good pairing. And I think that ESTJ and INFP are a good pairing. So no, Rain's right. Greetings, wisdom. It's definitively only one because we can't presume that a friend means his friend. So Rain's actually correct about that. I thought it was two at first as well. Well, the other friend doesn't necessarily have to be his friend. It could be a third party, but not his friend. I think that Rain proved himself a TI Dom there, basically. Yeah, my feeling is that ISTP should be with ENFJ and INTP should be with ESFJ. However, ENTP should be with INFJ and ESTP should be with ISFJ. And the reason has to do with whether their dominant functions are communicative or experiential. So for ISTPs, if they go with an ENFJ, then they've got 1-4 flip, and they've got 2-3. 1-4, 1-4 flip and 2-3 flip. So that's straight up duality. Okay. If they go with ESFJ, then they get 1-4 flip and 2-3 mirror, and that's not such a good idea. If you're gonna go mirror, then you want 1-4 mirror and 2-3 flip. 2-3 flip is kind of the key thing for easy compatibility. Well, look, Valerie Alwood, that's possible. Certainly possible. And you'd be crying all the time. But it would be for your own good. It really would, Valerie. What you need in your life is someone to yell at you more. What you're lacking currently is being yelled at enough. Artisans want a playmate, guardians helpmate, idealists soulmate, rationals want a mindmate, according to Kiersey. Well, yeah, kind of, yeah, makes sense. You are allowed to complain about anything, Sean Ryan Barron. I might remove it if it's too risque. I only allow up to scale 7 on risqueness. So be careful. Is that the noun form of risque? Risqueness? Risqueity? Risk what? Risquosity. Eric, do you think antipolar and ESTJs than in ESFJs? Is it different? I do think it's different. When I talk about ESFJ antipolar, I tend to remember how difficult it was to communicate with her the importance of words persisting across time. Whereas when I think of ESTJ polar, I think of them coming up with crazy explanations for things. I want to complain about you perpetuating negative biases towards opossums. They're oppressed and wounded by your words. Well, I don't like them. I don't like possums. Okay, I don't do anything to them, but when I see them, I go, ew, I don't like you. Go away. I don't want any possums around. They're smelly, creatures. Well, my dad is not a conspiracist at all, but he comes up with crazy explanations for things in his own life that he can't explain. Not for things out in the general world. Like when some plastic containers were missing from inside the house recently, he suggested that someone is clearly walking through our house in the middle of the night and taking things. What? It's a crazy explanation for why these plastic containers have gone missing. Hello there, I'm an ISFP currently having an identity crisis caused by gathering too many advices from different people. How did I solve it? You're just waiting for the right advice, that's all. So, what was I talking about? I don't know. Seems like it's probably time for another bong rip. Did I just take one of those pills? I don't remember if I took one or not. I don't want to take another one if I did. My grandfather always thought he was being targeted when he saw some suspicious van in the park. ESTJ it is. Yeah, it's like, and my dad gets from neighbor, what's it called? What's that thing called? Nextdoor. That internet thing at nextdoor.com or whatever it is, where it's like for your neighborhood. So he'll get alerts that say like suspicious vehicle spotted, and then he'll send me like a phone message saying, "Watch out! There's a package thief in the neighborhood or something." It's like, was just wait for the right advice. The right advice? No. Well, it's not the wrong advice. It's not the wrong advice, but it's not the advice that he's waiting for. Let's put it that way. He's waiting for another more impressive piece of advice. Katie's trying to remember one of my songs. Oh. It's one of these big pills here. I'm wondering if I took. I don't want to take another one of these because these are ibuprofens. They're 800s. So I definitely don't want to take two of them. No, they're 600s. They're not 800s. They're 600s. But because my teeth hurt a little bit. But thanks. If you are willing to do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. I don't think I did, but I might have. Yeah, you just need to wait for writer advice. These things don't bother my stomach, really. I don't know. They don't. I've always been more happy with Tylenol than ibuprofen. I like acetaminophen seems to work better for me, but I'm out of it, so I'm just taking the ibuprofens. For some reason, things like going to the store to get things is a challenge for me. I wouldn't even call it paranoia. It's just it's like they're thrashing around in a sea of unipolar, grasping for some explanation. And because I want the outro part, scababadi. I don't know. Scabadadi. Scababadi. I don't know anything that goes scababadi. Yeah, when I'm also of the analgesic cocktail. I'm a fan of the analgesic cocktail. Not taking too much of any one thing. So take an ibuprofen. Take a couple of Tylenols, and take a couple of what are they called? Leaves, and then you're pretty good. But I'm not. I don't know how many I had before. This is fine. I'm pretty sure I haven't taken one that recently, since like 4 in the morning or something. I gotta heat myself up another cup of coffee over here. And the coffee heating machine I call a microwave. The coffee heating machine. Is being a psychological therapist one of the most secure jobs when it comes to AI development and employment threats? I don't know. What do you mean by a fallen state? What's a fallen state? Bathing in the tears of virgins. Yeah, I'm familiar with Brett Weinstein. Uh, maybe an ISFJ. Huh. Well, I don't know. People get fussy about things. Well, if you feel attached to current people, but also attached to wanting to go off and do something, then you have to decide what you want more, I guess. Page Katarina, a state where you were high and then you fell, obviously. Thanks, that's very helpful. Because you're German, that was his explanation. It's a little bit racist, isn't it? It's interesting the way that Japan and Germany sort of took on their respective identities post World War II. Japan was much more, I guess you'd say, like colonialized or something. You know, American culture runs deep in Japan, but it doesn't do so in Germany at all. You know, like Japan had never experienced that before. Germany had been in Europe for all of history, so you know it's like they were always winning and losing various wars. It was to be expected that they were going to win or lose another war, and that's just how shit was, right? Japan had gone through this long history of basically not ever being conquered, mostly being the conquering one, and adopting this increasingly militarized paradigm for all of their existence. You know, so, and then this whole extremely militarized paradigm is based all on sort of the virtues of militarism, bravery, stick-to-itiveness, perseverance in the face of danger, and loyalty and devotion to a cause and all that kind of shit, right? So of course, none of that stuff has any relevance in the face of a nuclear bomb, or especially in the face of two nuclear bombs. And so all of a sudden, your entire culture's paradigm is based on this honors, seppuku, you know, death is lighter than a feather, duty heavier than a mountain shit, right? Becomes rendered utterly stripped naked, you know, before everybody in the culture, as the emperor himself sits on a boat and surrenders to the United States. The thing that they never ever will ever do, no matter what, is surrender, right? And then their emperor has to sit on the boat and surrender. And it's like, hold on a second. Why weren't you saying this whole time? What the hell's going on here? And one of the most striking indications of this that I've seen in all the anime I've been watching is in Olympia Greek Koklos, this really weird, great show on Crunchyroll, where this guy from ancient Greece keeps going forward to like 1960s, early 1960s, late 1950s, or whatever, Japan. And I'm 49 still for a little while longer. And the Greek guy's asking the Japanese guy about warfare, which is, like, he's used to this ancient Greek warfare where they have these wars every year where there are very few casualties. So the thing is, he's asking the Japanese guy circa 1960 about warfare, and the Japanese professor guy says, we just lost a war, actually. I don't think we're going to be waging any more wars. It was so it was such a grand moment of NI, like of human history, of the power of narratives, of the power of reality to change narratives, and it was just a glorious moment in media history, when this Japanese character in this really weird adult swimmy kind of, but like way better, it's so educational about ancient Greece too. They teach you every super strange thing about ancient Greece that there is to know. They actually competed. I mean, I'm assuming it's not bullshitting, and I think because it's presenting these things as weird facts. That they actually competed at putting an olive in their nose and shooting it as far as they could. That was one of the sports of the original Olympics. I mean, maybe I'm being gullible here, but I don't think I'm being gullible. I think it was presenting it as this is actually the case. Well, The Warrior Ethos by Stephen Pressfield. No, I didn't watch it. What am I looking for? Oh, let me find this thing. Extra Olympia Kyclos. Extra Olympia Kyclos. That's what this show is called. It's weird. It's only been voted a total of, let's see, 36, 40, 47 times. It got 11 one-star votes, 27 5 stars, and 9 4 stars, and no 2 stars or 3-star votes. People who gave it 1 star are idiots. That's all I can say. They do not get it, obviously. Your mind pooping weird questions? Well, that's an appropriate thing for a mind to poop. If it's going to poop something. Anyway, I strongly recommend that show right there, Extra Olympia High Close. It's short. It's not like 30-minute episodes, like 15-minute episodes, I think. But it's mostly interesting. It's kind of funny in spots, but it's mostly very interesting. And I just like it a lot. What's Kek? Kek. I've currently started watching Bleach for want of any other anime to watch. I've watched everything good. So, it's weird that of all the really great anime that I watch, I feel so much fondness towards this weird little Greek one. But I do. I feel a lot of fondness. Like I want it to be more successful than it is, or something. Women's Red Pill Society is a pretty good name, Genexiel. You were right when you said it was a very loaded name. Women's Red Pill Society. It's like you can interpret it in so many different ways. Ichigo and Toshi wrote rock. And Bleach, you mean? Yeah, I just started it. I'm on season 1. So it's like, I'm glad I started it because there's shit tons of episodes of it. So I can sort of, I'll always have something to watch. What is the alt-right? Well, typically, I think people think it includes like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, Sam Harris, but I don't know what. I mean, it's not a term I use. So I wouldn't bother defining it. I'm not looking for any spoiler. Winston's mom used it. Okay. Okay, well, I don't know what alt-right is. I don't use the expression or the term. So I guess I misunderstand what it is. Richard Spencer. Is he half Richard Simmons, half Spencer Tracy? Ben Shapiro is not the ultimate evil. I'll put the link again right here, Morridge. Extra Olympia Kyklos. it's great. It's about the start of the Olympics. Oh, I'm sorry, Lauren Cuthbert. Uncomfortable SI experiences are terrible. I am so sorry for you. Just make sure you don't also bang your toe. Yeah, those are words. Or reasonable facsimiles thereof. I mean, that's the thing. If you ask people on the left who the alt-right are, they're going to describe the alt-right as secret racists. If you ask people on the right who the alt-right are, I don't know who they're going to say. If you ask people who consider themselves alt-right, well, you might get a bunch of people who would self-identify as such across the spectrum of positions. So I mean, I don't know what the term is for. Raphael, do you know what people sing when you come here? They sing, "You are the sunshine of my heart. Yeah, you make me feel all filled with sunlight." Alt-right are basically people who work very hard to eliminate any and all political correctness from their ideology. That's silly. That's silly. What's a racist? That's a good title for a poem, Raphael. What is a racist? A racist is someone who doesn't care, who doesn't love. A racist is someone who doesn't know, who's ignorant. A racist is not okay. That's my poem. It's called Racists Not Okay. What is a racist? A racist is someone who's not okay. The great thing is we need to start talking about how minority individuals are getting swept up into white nationalist ideology, Proud Boys. Minority individuals? There are no such thing as minority individuals. They're individuals who either are deemed by others or deem themselves members of a minority group. The alt-right, usually disaffected white men without a college education who want their own pond. That's a great description of them. What is a racist? A racist is someone who doesn't love. A racist is someone who doesn't know. I'm majority individual, but I'm partially group. A minority interest is owned by the group. About 40% of me is owned by a conglomerate of Chinese, Indian, Brazilian, and Russian interests. High on social dominance scale and low on education. Dan Black, did you rob someone yesterday? And tell us about your plans in advance? Now Bobby Sen's making sure that it went okay? That seems kind of risky. You might get arrested. So anyway, well, I'm planning to break in and wish me luck. There's also the alt-light, where non-PC is spec but not into ovens and helicopter rides. So do you think that people would be likely to call me that, or what? Is that why this is that, does that link at all to this topic of alt-right? Like, do people think that that's a label for me at all? What do you think people are going to label me? What do you label me? Regular? Can I just be regular? Is that a political orientation? I'm regular. Hidden alt-right. I'm hidden alt-right? The left would call me racist? I mean, idiots would call me racist. I'm not going to denigrate the left, presume that only idiots on the left would call me racist. After all, I'm fluidly transracial. And Zayden Black, I want to tell you something. I pooped this morning before I started off the live stream. They would take incredible offense to the transracial thing. I take incredible offense to their transracialism. I'm fluidly transracial. If they want to be fluidly transracist, they can be fluidly transracist, but I'm going to call them out on it. I exhibit what the left would call white privilege. I mean, I exhibit the privilege of all the races and the sorrows of them all as well. Teen Vogue explains the alt-right. That sounds like a terrible article. Pot smoking, conservative, or perfectly fine liberal, copyright 2021. I'm regular, okay? That's what I want to be known as. I want to be known as the regular kind of person. Not right or left or meow. Just regular. Not moderate either. I don't believe that the middle ground is necessarily better. I am just a regular person who makes good decisions about things one at a time. Instead of having an agenda of some sort of stupid ideology, you know? I know you're not calling me racist, Sean Ryan Barrett. I know. You understand that it's not possible for me to be racist because I'm fluidly transracial. That makes it only possible for me to be victimized by racism, even though I enjoy the privilege of each of the races as well. I enjoy the privilege of both the highest caste in India and the lowest caste in India. But when you add them together, they equal 0. So that's not really that great. I know the pain and suffering of vanilla ice and the pain and suffering of regular ice. I know the pain and suffering of black ice. Oh, right. Okay, thank you, Johannes. I'm sorry. I'll do it right now. I will do it right now. You know what happened is I was sitting there waiting for it to finish uploading, saying, Eric, you better wait for it to upload. Okay, I'll respond to this in a second. am looking for the email. Yeah, so, and then I didn't quite wait. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Copy email. I didn't quite wait for it to finish uploading, and I got distracted by something else, and I knew I was going to fucking not remember to do it. Drive. And recent and share and paste. Okay. There you go. I am done. Would you say INTP and ENTP are in opposition with one another? Do you find them cold, too unattentive? I think yeah, I mean, I have good arguments in response to all those things. This is the problem. Because they're implying that my benign jokes aren't actually benign. Their attempt to turn argumentation into an identitarian matter is in itself actually malignant and evil, wicked. So I don't go on defense. I thrash the fuck out of them. There is no good evil, right? It's like there's no acceptable form of that kind of bullshit. So I thrash the living fuck out of them, as they deserve, as they well and richly deserve. Right. The questions of personality tests are too vague. They use words like often, for instance. What is often? 3, 5, 10, etc. Well, I mean, it's not really possible to type somebody yet via like a multiple choice test or an internet test or whatever. It requires still some art to it. The thing is, we do all have our biases, and yet we all have to communicate fairly with one another. In other words, we all share a universal burden to be communicatively on basically the same page. That words are used to do things, to make progress. So when people instead say, no, words are used to shut down discourse, to prevent ideation, to prevent meaningful progress in how we treat each other, then I'm going to go on the attack 100% of the time. I will never allow anybody to accuse me of not having the moral high ground here, because I do have the moral high ground. Thus, I will defend it appropriately. If I didn't have the moral high ground, then I wouldn't be in a position to defend it. Who doesn't think racism exists? Nobody doesn't think racism exists. I oppose it. I oppose it strongly. I'm fluidly transracial. It's not that racism doesn't exist. It's that groupism is always bad, and racism is a form of groupism. Right? Racism is a form of groupism, and groupism is always bad. In other words, when you're conferring identities onto other people that are arbitrary, such as racial identities, you're being evil. So if you believe, for example, that somebody's black or white or Asian, you're being evil because our race is an arbitrary self-identification, if anything, and you can't confer racial identity onto other people. That's why my racial identity is fluidly transracial. What's particularly bad, though, is to separate it out and say this kind of groupism is especially bad, because that's conflating the symptom for the root cause of the disease. The root cause of the disease is groupism, the conference of identity onto others that is arbitrary or of your own decision making, right? It's not objective or of them. So the thing is, we all have an obligation to understand identity properly. Some aspects of identity are legitimate and some are not. If you believe in race, for example, that means you're on the wrong page. And there's lots of reasons to not believe in race. Lots of good reasons to not believe in race. I believe in race to the extent that I believe myself to be fluidly transracial, which is to say it's an arbitrary self-identification. If you think it's something other than that, then you're part of the problem because you're not thinking well. And that's groupism of all sorts, whether it's racism, whether it's misogyny, whether it's anti-republicanism, whether it's anti-democrats, whether it's anti-old people or whatever. Groupism of all kinds is the same thing. It's the same problem. It's always the same problem. Somebody is not thinking well. So what we do is we check your thinking. Are you thinking properly? If you're not thinking properly, then that's the problem. We don't need to go any further as to how you're not thinking properly this way or that way or the other way. It's the same fucking problem as groupism. There's nothing specific about race that makes it especially difficult. As a transracial individual, I've known all the privileges and sufferings of every race. Do you know that I'm not only Native American, I'm Native. I'm native to nativity everywhere. I'm a living, breathing nativity scene. The Christ child in a box with goats and sheep around him and wise people dumping myrrh on his face. Ooh, take this myrrh all over your face, Eric, they say. Here, have some frankincense. Let me rub it on your face, too, they say to me. Thanks, Winston's mom. You the best. Don't call me a white man, KD. I don't accept your conference of identity onto me. I reject it. Pshaw. Now I'm going to get 23andMe. If every time I take 23andMe test, that thing tells you what race you are or whatever, it comes back completely different results. I take it one day, I'll get Asian Pacific Islander, 99%. Take it the other day, I get Mexican, 99%. Take Take it third day, I get, sub-Saharan Africa 99%. It's wildly vacillating all over the place. That's just how it is. That's how I was born. My age also vacillates wildly. Right now, I'm fairly adultish, like 28, 29 probably. Maybe 30. I don't know. Let me pull a couple bong riffs and we'll see if I've hit 30 yet. Oh, am I blatantly ignoring your typing email? Hey, it's not just your email, Lauren. It's every email. Okay. What type is most interesting for me? Well, I mean, I tend to like to have conversations with INTPs. I don't tend to have a lot of them necessarily. I like their contributions a lot to the live chat. Yes, I think Frank James is an INFJ. I believe it I'm quite convinced of it. I'm convinced that he's an INFJ. I'm convinced that he's an INFJ. Well, even when my age is like 16, I don't do bad things. The thing is, I don't morally regress. I'm childlike in a lot of ways, but I don't morally regress in age. My path gets narrower, not broader. The more you understand how your actions impact people and what comprises just and righteous behavior, the less you permit yourself or are somehow permitted to engage in wickedness, The more you think and talk about what is righteous, and the more concern you give it, the more times you use it in arguments, right? The more you are stuck by that path and you are locked into it. That's how my existence goes. The more times I draw over the same lines on the map, the more necessary it becomes that the map become real, So, and stuff like that. Everything benefits when you add an and stuff like that to it. Okay, well, as it is nearing the end of the stream now, I'm going to play a couple of songs on the guitar, as I sometimes do at the end of live streams. If you don't want to listen to me play the guitar, I understand. That's perfectly reasonable. But that's why I save it for the end. So if you want to just say, okay, I don't want to hear this, then you can bail, First I'm gonna pull a little bong rip with my little lungs. Then I'm gonna pull another bong rip and make myself feel young. Freeway catch up. One of your more delightful puns, Winston's mom, right there. That one surprised me. No, I've been kind of out of commission for a few weeks, really. For a variety of reasons. But I feel like I'm sort of getting back into the spirit of wonder that envelops my heart with a delightful hue of cerulean blue. which is the same color as my butthole, by the way. You know, it's hard to look at your own butthole unless you use a mirror. It's true. Good morning, Rachel. My precious darling. Let's see. What's the matter with Chad? Is he terribly bad? Is he very like Dan, who's a terrible man? Is he sort of like Jill, who can't pay her bill? Or rather like Jack, too stuck on the facts? What's the matter with Sue? Will she know what to do if they bring attitude? Will she show ingenuity? She talks about you whenever we go walking. What's the matter with Bryn? She's been living in sin. She's been hanging with Jen. He's looking terribly thin. What's the deal with Frank? Stealing fish from a tank, colluding with you, and they're talking to Lou. What's wrong with the ladies? What's the matter with men? From the feelings of Katie to the coldness of Sven. They talk about you whenever we go walking. Paths that lead to lesser days. Over at the overwatered past. And whoever's left that's still okay. Just tie the sails to the mast. Are you angry at Ken or Neville again? Don't bother with Kev, he's practically dead. Just focus on Bert, he's medium hurt. What's the quantity for Liz? Just fail a quiz. Matter with Drew? Would you know what to do if they bring attitude? Will she show ingenuity? She talks about you whenever we go walking. Paths that lead to lesser days. Paths that lead to lesser days. Still at the overwatered path. Whoever's left that's still okay. Just tie the sails to the mast. Each of us have much and gravely sinned. Throw up the hands, stiffen the chin. Catastrophe looms heavy overhead again. Time's gone will never be again. $30,000 days, too many expectations, not even worth a damn. 30,000 nights to sleep off the intoxication, otherwise you won't escape the plan. I've wasted half my days trying, I know there's ways. Who can tell me my priorities? Is there anybody who knows the key? I'm tired of doing it wrong. Want direction and have all along. Wait until I know. Or is that just hesitation? Clarity's no good once your chance is gone. What I need to show is it's so below my my station. I'm tired of doing it wrong. I've wasted half my days trying another's ways. Who can tell me my priorities? Is there anybody who knows the key? 'Cause I think I'm doing this wrong. Yeah, I think I'm doing this wrong. 'Cause I think I'm doing this wrong. Doing this wrong. That was nice. I didn't play it super great, but I played it pretty okay, I guess. Let's see. I guess I'll play the old new Songaroo. Here we go. Put that like so. Yeah. Like, yeah. Okay, here we go. Just brooding here won't do any good, but brooding's more and more my style. I seek the cheery ways of standing where we stood, 'cause I've been stuck here a while. That's despite a natural selfishness that makes it easy to have fun. But flutters in the gut become a fist as all my visions come undone. I tried to stream distracting in the afternoon away, but heavy new realities are breaking every day, and for a bit I am out of it. Reasons still unsaid, still I need to get out of what's inside my head. It seems like everybody's so sensitive, so ready to just get mad. I seek the simple ways of living like a kid, 'cause who wants to be the dad? Have we lost our sense of scope and scale, our capacity to laugh, the sense to know when not to wail, and how to typical the calf? I tried to distract and drain the afternoon away, but heavy new realities bear down on every day, and for a bit I am out of it. For reasons still unsaid, still I need to decorate the words inside my head. Still I'm sad, so sad for me, sad for her, unhappily, and what you call sorrow, I call home. Blues that sing clear down to the bone. Still I'm sad, so sad for me, sad for her, unhappily, and what you call all sorrow I call home. Blues that sing clear down to the bone. Well, thank you all for being here. If you stuck around to listen to my songs, I especially appreciate it. Thanks a lot. You're the best. And don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. It's me boogieing.